This part of the lesson is on vocabulary. We're going to look at these different vocabulary words and then put them into practice. So first of all, we're going to look at the word population. Population is every member of the group. So whatever group we're talking about, the population could be the entire world, it could be of a specific country, it could be, in this case down here, we're going to talk about the population being the high school at Timothy. So the second word is sample. Sample is a subset of the population. So that's where we're going to take a smaller group from the population and look at the information with it, the data that's generated by that. Because sometimes you can't look at the data for the entire population, and so you take a smaller sample to look at its information and see if that can inform you about the entire population. So let's talk about some of the information we use from the population sample. First of all, we use a term called measure of center. When you look at the data, you want to know where it's centered, where it's located. So if you've got a set of data, where is that data located by looking at where the center of it is? Now, the measure of center, so where is the center of the data? That's the question we're asking. And what we're doing is that helps us locate it. Locates where the data is. Now, the three things we use for measure of center typically are mean, median, and mode. Those are ones that you are familiar with and have used before. So I'm going to put that up here. The three that we typically use: mean, median, and mode. They all have different ways of finding it. Sometimes they line up the same, sometimes they're completely different. But we're going to use that to help locate where the data is. So mean is just the average. So remember, for an average, you add up all the numbers and divide by the number of data points there are, okay? And then the median is the middle. So you line them all up in order, look for the middle number in the set. And last of all, the mode is the most. Now, if there is a most, sometimes there's not one that's the most in the data set, but you look for the one that occurs the most in the data set. That's the mode. Now, we're going to do an example to kind of help to illustrate what we're doing with these. So I'd like to use this data set. The example is the population is all of Timothy High School, and what we're going to look at is pulling out a geometry class as a sample. So geometry class and the heights of the individuals to hopefully show some representation of the whole school. Now, that might be accurate or it may not. If you've got geometry class might typically only have freshmen and sophomores, so they might be shorter because you don't have the juniors and seniors in it. But it's a way of sampling. So at a later time in Algebra 2, we'll talk about sampling methods to get a more accurate picture. But for now, we're going to use a geometry class. So here are the heights in a geometry class. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to organize them, the data. Because we need to be able to see them in order to get both median and mode. So organizing these, I'm going to start listing these in order. So I looked through these and looks like I've got 58 inches is my smallest. I'll leave a little space on these just in case I don't find one. So next, it looks like 61 comes next. Okay. And I'm crossing them off as I find them in order to make sure that I don't repeat them. Okay, and let's do the next one. Let's see. So we've got Some 60s here, looks like 63 might be my next smallest. So 63, and I'm looking through these, looks like I've got a 64. Cross that one off. I've got several 65, so I got 1, 2, and 3 65s, so I'm going to list those. So 3 of those. Okay, and then let's see, next, looks like 68 is my next one. Then I've got 69. And next one is 70. Cross that one off. 71, 72, and 73. 71, 72, and 73. Okay, so 71, 72, 73. I just do a double check. Looks like I got all of them. All right, now let's do the easiest one here. It looks like the easiest one is going to be mode, because if you look at the mode is what are the ones that are listed the most. Notice these 3, there's 65 listed 3 times, nothing else is repeated. So the one that happens the most is 65. Let's do median next. Median is the middle. Now to do this, you go ahead and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 of them. So if I go 7 in from either side, I'm going to get the median, because that will be in the middle. 6 one side, 6 on the other side, and the middle one is going to be our median. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to be 65. So here, these 2 measures of center are the same. That doesn't happen always, but in this case, that identifies our measure of center being the same. Let's go ahead and do mean. Mean is the average. Now to do the average, I'm going to put this as equals. We got to add all these up. So let's add up all these numbers. So take your calculator, and I'm going to do 58 plus 61 plus 63 plus 64 plus 65 3 times. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, plus, let's see, 68, 69, 70, plus 71, plus 72, plus 73. Now, if you wanted to on this, you wouldn't have to put it as in order. You could use the original to do the mean if that's all you're doing. The mode and the median, it's better to organize them. So this is 864. And I think I said I've got, let's count again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, divided by 13 data points. So I'm going to take that 864, divide by 13, and I get about 66.5. when I round it to 1 decimal place. So it's a little bit higher than these 2, and that's because we have these 70s up here that's pulling the data, the mean, over that direction as we do it. So when we look at our vocabulary that we're going to use, population sample describes the groups that we're dealing with, either everybody in the group or a smaller group that we're going to gather information from. Our measures of center are mean, median, and mode, and we use those to locate where the data is. Where's the middle of the data? That helps us see, you know, here the data is not way off in 100 something, it's not down in 20 something, it's going to be centered around somewhere in the mid 60s, helps us locate that data. And we use that to describe this data set.